Hey guys, checking out Soul Bass by UVI, and this is of course a bass instrument, virtual instrument. It's following the same concept as Soul drums, where we have two layers. So here we have the electric layer, the bass, and a synthetic layer, and you can blend between them. And so before we dive into this, I wanted to show you that we have different programs, different banks. So if you're using the UVI workstation, you will see that we have a separate library or separate program for finger bridge, finger mute, finger neck picking, and picking muted. So they will all sound different because they were sampled differently. So I'm on the bridge here, and when you double clicking this, you will be loading. And one of the cool features that we have here, the same as with the drums, is that we have sequences. So you can use these sequences, you can drag and drop and do whatever. I mean, you can play them within the instrument, or you can drag them and use them in your sessions and build your own patterns. So let's get started with some examples, and then we'll dive into the details, see what's inside. Right, so on the main page, we have the two layers. We can see the electric, we can see the synthetic on the bottom. And for the synthetic, you'll see that we have a drop-down menu with different categories and lots of sounds. But we don't have that for the electric, because the electric was just sampled, recorded with the particular playing style. Right now we're on finger bridge. So that's how it goes. If you want to change the DNA of the sound, you'll have to select a different program, as I showed you earlier. So now we also have, of course, the option to mute or turn off each of those layers. Then we can solo, we can set the level, panning, but we also have articulations or playing modes or styles. So I'm just gonna click this drop down here, but you can use the keyboard, the key switches, and program that as as you like. And so we have hammer, glide, and legato. Right now we're on hammer, and you can play on your keyboard, and you can see the white range right here. And then we have the red range, which are basically the pattern. In different keys, of course. So you can play. And we have the glide, and we can try the legato. But we also have a different hand position right here, so you can see that we have the hand position 5. You can change that. And we also have the style finger bridge, so you know where you are. So that's the main page in a nutshell, but in the edit page, we have a lot more control over the sound for both the electric and the synthetic layers. So for both of them, we have these arrows that you can flick, and we have the amplitude, ADSR, envelope. We have a filter which you can turn on and off. We have pitch controls and some other controls. And so if you're not familiar with what exactly is ADSR, well, it is the way you control the sound over time. So for example, if the attack is very fast, 0 or near 0, it means that we are reaching the maximum velocity, the top level of our volume, very, very fast, and that will be snappy sound. But if you want the sound to sort of glide into or build up, then you will set the attack slower. right? And then we have the release, which means how fast or how long would it take for the sound to decay once you lift your fingers from the fretboard. And so that's, I mean, that's the basics. I'm not going into more than that right now. Let me know in the comments if you want to learn more about this. And so for the filter, we have the shape and we have the depth. We have, again, ADSR envelope for the filter. And that's, again, that's a concept in sound design or, I mean, in music, how you shape the filter, how it will be opening and closing in relation to the ADSR envelope. And in the next page, in the next tab here, we have the effects. So for the electric and for the synthetic sounds, we have a chain of stomp boxes. So we have the tube screamer, Thoros, we have phaser, we have the feedback comp, tone stack, and convolver. You can turn them on and off just like a stomp box, and we have the different controls. And this is exactly the same for the synthetic, only for the master it's a bit different, because here we have the send effects, which we can use from each of the layers and send into two types of delays and two types of reverbs. But we also have a master EQ and a master compressor. And then finally we have the sequences. So here you can click this, just play and play any of those, and I'll show you in a moment that you can drag and drop the patterns. So we have different categories, and for each one we have more categories, and then finally we have the patterns. We can set the scale, and we can set swing, velocity, and so on. So pretty nice stuff. And if you're not playing bass and you want to get started real quick, this is very, very helpful. So let's try some of those. And you can see that when I'm changing the sounds, when I'm changing the presets, the pattern stays. So you can audition, I mean, you can take any of those patterns and just auditions the sounds. This is really good. I mean, it's very, very helpful. I'm really happy about that. And that they did not tie the patterns to the presets. Very nice job. So now, how do you use this? Well, if you find a pattern you like, you just click this MIDI, it will be loaded. And now I'm gonna just click, drag, and drop it right here. And now we have the Now, if I want a little bit more reverb, or maybe I want a delay on that one, I'll go into the effects, going into synthetic, and we have the send effects. So I'm going to add the delay and reverb. And I can add the second reverb. Now, if you want to tweak those, you can go into the master. And again, we have the send effects section here, and we can set the time, for example, for the tape delay, and the same, for example, for the dual delay. And you can see that it is free running here, but I can click this to lock it into my BPM. And now they both on 8. Right, and let's go back to the main page. And so I'm unsoloing this, and we can have both of them together. Now let's try some other program. So I loaded the Soul Bass pick program. Let's have a listen. Right, so now we pretty much covered what this plugin or what this library can do, and of course we can listen to more examples. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more examples of the sounds and patterns. I'll be happy to do it. And of course, let's check also the drums. So here in Soul Drums, we have the mix page where you see everything. You see all the instruments, the bass, the snare, the hi-hats, and everything else. Then you can tweak the sound for each of those. And finally, we have the effects and the effect sense. But what is important about this plugin or about this library is that we are also introducing the bleeding between the mics. So when you are recording drums, many times you will get sounds going from different instruments into different mics. So if you're recording the snare, you will get the kick, or maybe the other way around. And if you're recording the snare, you'll get the overhead cymbals. So things like that. And you can control the bleeding on the bleeding matrix right below here. And this is really, really powerful. So I'm covering that one in a separate video, so check it out. And of course, we have sequences. And so it's really a lot of fun. So you can click this drop down here, just get those, and just let's have a listen. Right, so that was Soul Bass by UVI and just a little bit of Soul Drums. Really hope you enjoyed this one. If you still have any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and you can check that thanks button, that new thing below the video. And I'll see you guys in the next videos. Thanks and bye-bye.